Okay, so if you haven't read Paper Towns by John Green, this book, you probably don't want to watch this video because there will be spoilers. Because, dear John, what the heck? I loved your book. It was fantastic. It was wonderful, amazing, great. Few things. First, I know I'm not really your target audience. I'm a little bit older. But it was fantastic as a book, not just as a teen read thing. Let's get to the questions, shall we? Firstly, how can you write a book in 3 parts when all of your videos pretty much take at least 4? I feel like it could have been, if you can concise 300 pages into 3 parts, you can make 4 videos that are in less than 4 parts. But hey, you do you, bro. Okay. Also, there's a lot of grammatical errors, which I was thinking might just be because, it's told from the point of view of a decently but not outrageously smart high schooler. But then I started noticing your videos after, you're getting really close to the publishing date, you started getting really subconscious about any time you ended a sentence with a preposition, which makes me think that some of the people who read your book before it was before it was officially out for the public, were commenting on the fact that you end a lot of sentences with which is fine. I was just wondering if it was subconscious or a conscious choice. Okay? Alright. Also with grammatical things, why do you change speakers in the middle of paragraphs? Every time you change speakers, I was always taught you start a new paragraph. Which, hey, it's your book. Again, you do you. But it got really confusing because I would be reading in, Margot's voice, and then all of a sudden it was Q. What? Wait, This one's more just in general for your books, but I really like the fact that you use magic. And not Expelliarmus, but the magic pills and the Fault in Our Stars that don't really exist, but you want them to exist, so that as kind of a cure for cancer, even though it wasn't really a cure. Whatever. Not talking about Fault in Our Stars today. Or the computer programming. Yeah, most of the stuff that you're talking about, I'm pretty sure is possible, but there's also a lot of stuff that I was you're kind of pushing it. Especially for somebody to program in 2 days. Especially a high school student. Really smart high school student? Okay, but really? Let's think about this. But I like the fact that you're just yay! Magic solutions to all of our problems. Not because it makes things easier, but because sometimes that's just how we want the world to be. I don't know your reasoning behind it, obviously, and unless you happen to see this video, I highly doubt that I'll ever really know your reasoning. But I like to think that the magic programming and the magic pills and everything is how you, where you see the future. You're seeing, one day we will have these pills that can pause cancer. One day we will be able to really just, anybody will be able to utilize the computer. So many people know how to use the computer now, but only 1/10 of its capabilities. I'm an electrical engineering student, and I know, probably not even 1/10%. I mean, I like to think I'm up there like 20%, you know, but even I'm just like baffled every day when I'm learning the new things that computers can do. Okay. Is Q autistic? I've wrote that question down before I finished the novel, and the way that he reacts when they find Margot, it makes me think he's not, maybe. But during the first part of the novel, he seems to have like really acute senses where he takes everything in. I'm not thinking like autistic. I'm thinking Asperger's autistic, if that makes sense. Like that side of the spectrum. He needs the routine, he needs the normalcy of, okay, this is what's happening every day, we're going to do the exact same thing. And that's very Aspie of him. Also, in the first draft of the prologue that you put on Blog Brothers, he had problems with, like, facial recognition, which isn't entirely Aspie, but, like, not being able to recognize expressions and pick up on, oh, hey, why is there a dead guy in the middle of the park? Things kind of, like, not knowing what is wrong just makes me think maybe he's autistic. Or, you know, at least getting close to that side of the spectrum. Also, in my book, on page 197, it says, great people, my parents, but prone to bouts of crippling sentimentality. And that's very Asperger's of him to see sentimentality as crippling. I mean, obviously he's speaking specifically to their sentimentality, not just sentimentality in general, but is he autistic? Just like, let me know in the comments or something, because I'm curious. Also, wouldn't his parents have picked up on it if he was autistic? I mean, they are both trained and practicing psychologists. They should have known that something was a little bit off, I would think. Also, I don't know. I just feel like they should have picked up on something. I don't know. Maybe they didn't know that he was autistic, and it wasn't anything that was really affecting his life, and so they just let him be him, as long as, like, he was still getting along fine. But his relationships with people are really weird, and he doesn't understand social dynamics. Which, I mean, I guess learning social dynamics is part of being a high schooler, but I'm being Q right now, and I am projecting onto Q the way that he projects onto Margot. I just want you to realize that, because I just did. Yeah. I really liked the quote, the human tongue is like wasabi. Like, I know that you're talking about kissing and everything, but also just the human tongue is like wasabi, like, use it sparingly when talking, which I apparently don't do in video blogs because I just keep talking, and I'm definitely going to go over my time, but new rule, book reviews are allowed to go over their time limit. Okay. When they're at the party at Radar's house, and the Q thinks a line about window stories and door stories, I really like that line too. Just, like, window stories being how you see other people, and, like, watching their lives, you can only see it when they're in front of the window. I'm gesturing to the window in my room right now. You can only see when they're in front of the window, And not like when they're off to the side and stuff, you're only getting a tiny glimpse at their lives. And then mirror stories would be stories about yourself and like you remembering like how you were and seeing that. But also you use Margot as a mirror. And so is it also when you're projecting on another person how you feel? Or how you see yourself? Like, would that be a mirror story? I don't know. Those are all the ones that I wrote down. Actually, I ended up underlining a lot in this book, which I never do. But you have amazing one-liners, and I will probably be using them as Facebook statuses for years to come. So, don't worry. You'll be remembered forever. No. Just sincerely, best wishes, Chrissy. Chapter 4, somewhere in the middle-ish. That always seems so ridiculous to me. That people would want to be around somebody because they're pretty. That's like picking a breakfast cereal based on color instead of taste. I 90% recommend it. 90% because it is just lovely and it's a great story and it's very well written and it tells a lot about just like growing up and learning how to see yourself without basing it on other people. But minus 10% because every detail feels very extremely important. It's like you're not really just seeing everything as it's happening, you're only seeing what John Green or Q want you to see. He handpicks the details that are important and you don't get to pick those for yourself. Which is part of teen literature, I guess. So it's my fault for being too old. But that's where I am right now. But my next book is going to be Lord of the Flies by William Golding. Goulding? I don't know. This video was originally 17 minutes long, and so the fact that it's a lot shorter now, I'm kind of proud of, but also I'm really proud of you for sticking it through to the end, and I love you, and I'll see you soon.